Welcome to Untold Recaps. After being found guilty of murdering his wife and her boyfriend in 1947 in Portland, Maine, Andy Dufresne was sentenced to 2 consecutive life terms at Shawshank State Prison. Ellis Red Redding, a prison contraband smuggler serving a life sentence, befriends Andy and gets him a rock hammer and a huge poster of Rita Hayworth. Prison inmate Andy is subjected to repeated sexual assaults at the hands of the sisters and their leader, Boggs Diamond, while working in the prison laundry. When Andy overhears guard Captain Byron Hadley in 1949 lamenting the high taxes he must pay on his inheritance, he offers to assist Hadley in finding a legal way to protect the funds. After Andy is nearly killed in an attack by the sisters, Hadley brutally beats and cripples Boggs before transferring him to a new prison, ensuring that Andy is not assaulted again. After meeting Andy, the warden reassigns him to the prison library so that he can help an elderly inmate named Brooks Hatlin. However, this is all a ruse so that the warden, other prison guards, and Andy himself can take advantage of Andy's financial skills. Andy starts writing weekly letters to the state government to lobby for cash to refurbish the prison's outdated library. After 50 years in prison, Brooks was granted parole in 1954. Unfortunately, he is unable to readjust to life outside of prison and commits suicide by hanging. When the state legislature delivers a gift to the library, it contains a recording of Mozart's The Marriage of Figaro. Andy plays a passage from the recording over the PA system and is immediately placed in solitary confinement. Upon being released from isolation, Andy tells a sneering Red that his only means of survival is faith. Norton began using inmates to complete public works projects in 1963, saving money on train labor while accepting bribes in the process. Andy uses the identity Randall Stevens to launder the cash. In 1965, Tommy Williams was jailed for burglary. He makes fast friends with Andy and Red, and Andy even tutors him through the GED test. Tommy tells Red and Andy a year later that his cellmate in another prison admitted to committing the murders for which Andy was convicted. Andy tries to tell Norton about it, but Norton doesn't want to hear it, and when he brings up the money laundering, Norton locks him up again. Under the guise of a failed escape attempt, Norton has Hadley shoot and kill Tommy. Norton threatens to destroy the library, remove Andy's protection by the guards, and send him to worse conditions if Andy continues to refuse to continue the money laundering. After 2 months in isolation, Andy is finally free to inform a doubtful Red about his desire to settle in Zihuatanejo, a Pacific Coast town in Mexico. In addition, Andy gives Red the location of a certain hayfield in the vicinity of Buxton and asks him to go there after his release to retrieve a package he buried there. Red is concerned for Andy's safety after learning that Andy has requested another prisoner for some rope. The following day, when guards conduct a roll call, they discover that Andy is not in his cell. After 19 years in prison, Andy used a rock hammer to dig a tunnel, which was discovered when an enraged Norton threw a rock at a poster of Raquel Welch hanging on the cell wall. Andy had escaped the night before with Norton's coat, shoes, and ledger, which contained evidence of the money laundering, by using the rope to traverse the tunnel and prison sewage system. Andy, as guards look for him, takes on the identity of Randall Stevens, withdraws $370,000, $3.09 million in 2021, from many banks, and sends the ledger and other evidence of corruption and murder at Shawshank to a local newspaper. When the state police show up in Shawshank, they arrest Hadley and leave Norton to commit suicide. After 40 years behind bars, Red is granted parole the following year. He is having a hard time adjusting to freedom and worries he never will. Andy's promise still fresh in his mind, he travels to Buxton in search of the hidden treasure and discovers a stash of cash and a letter inviting him to Zihuatanejo. In an act of desperation, Red breaks the terms of his parole by entering Mexico through Fort Hancock, Texas. After searching for him, he finally locates Andy on a beach in Zihuatanejo, where the two rejoice in a long-awaited reunion.